Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining in another insightful session organized by PMS Bazaar. To introduce myself, I'm Pallav Rajan, one of the founding member of PMS Bazaar. So today we have an interesting presentation on the topic investing and importance of self-discipline in mid and small cap space. Today we have Mr. Rakesh Tharve, who is a portfolio manager for Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company. And to give a small introduction about Rakesh, Rakesh has more than 17 years of experience in equity market as an analyst and head of research. He has worked with Motilal Oswal Securities as an analyst and head of retail products. Prior to joining Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company Limited, he had worked as a head of research for Reliance Securities Limited. So it is very rare to see a combination of analyst from a broking background, coming to asset management business. So having said that, I would like to welcome Mr. Rakesh. Rakesh, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, friends. This is a I'll straight away start with what has happened in the past over last say 10-15 years. If somebody is interested in putting money in the mid and small cap segment, so the source of the data is basically what we have done in our wealth creation study done by Mr. Ramdev Agarwal, our founder. This is the study. This is a part of the study. First, I'll briefly introduce you what is the purpose of this session. The purpose of the session is to we have a PMS scheme called Focus Mid Cap Strategy. So, what we are trying to do over there, and what is the basic philosophy, that is the purpose. And we have a portfolio which has already been constructed. We have some money in that scheme. So what is happening over there over last 5-6 months? So these are three things. What is the structure of the portfolio? Why should one put money in a mid cap kind of setup right now? And what has happened over last 8-9 months since that portfolio has been launched. So these are the three things we are going to talk about basically. So as a backgrounder to that, this data, if it is visible to you, the source of the data is our own wealth creation study, which we do every year, done by our founder, Mr. Ramdev Agarwal. The data is presented in 3 grids. It's very simple to understand. So I'll tell you, it looks very messy, but the presentation is very simple. 2000 to 2005, there are 3 time periods: 2000 to 2005, 2005 to 10, and 2010 to 15. Now 2015 to 20, it will be presented this year. But these 3 time periods, if you look at this, mini, mid, and mega. So mini are smaller companies, mid is the mid cap company, and large is top 100 companies. Okay, and this is the number of the companies which are given over there. 100 is the mega cap, 200 basically below them is mid cap, and 1098, whatever is left, is mini. So that is the data which is basically arranged. As I was saying, it was messy, but it's a simple data. Look at 2000 to 2005, for example. We put money in, say 100. You invested in a basket of 100 mega caps. That is the from and to. And so in year 2000, you put money in 100 mega cap companies. What happened in 2005? So mega remained mega, 59 companies, basically 21% probability. Mega to mid is basically 59 companies, minus 4% probability, minus 4 is the return, and minus 40% is the mega to mini shift, that is 13 companies. So it's basically this, in this period, if you put 100 rupees in 100 mega cap companies, 59 companies actually remained mega and 13 became actually mini. So the point is, your return, and when you are going from say mini to mega, uh, out of 1098 companies, only one company became mega, 58 remained mid, and 1039 remained mini. The return is put in the 158%, 57%, 19%. These are the median returns. So, but if you are putting money in the mid, basically middle 200 companies, in that case, what is happening? 93 companies basically remained mid to mid. 90 companies basically remained mid. 93 became mini, and 17 companies migrated to mega. The companies which migrated to mega, the return was 55% on a median basis. It's 17 out of 200 plus 19 companies which remained mid. So it's a probability of something like 107 out of 200, 50% probability that you will generate a return of minimum 21%, 2000, 2005. If you come to this grid 2005, 2010, again out of 200 companies, 89 plus 9, 98, that is again a 50% round 50% probability. You are getting a minimum 24% kind of return. If you come in 2010, 2015, again 200 companies started, 88 plus 24 is 112, that's 56% probability that you will be getting a decent return. The point being, if you are in that middle segment, the probability of you doing decent job over a 5-year period is around 50%. The moment you shift either to too small, 1900 companies, 1400 companies, 1098 companies, your probability of doing a decent job is less. 25 plus 2, 27 companies here, 64 plus 3, 67 companies. The probability is like 2-3%. So it's always advisable to have a mix of companies where the body of the portfolio, 70-80% of the portfolio, is made up of companies which are proven, but they are not mega, but they have a decent size, they have some history. So that's the basic point this slide tries to convey. That is the reason we try to build a portfolio around this concept. We try to put most of the money, as I'll show in previous slide, in the further slides, that our most of the money is in companies which are in that market cap basket. So let's go ahead. Recent underperformance. Now there is another issue in mid caps. After the markets made a high in January of 2018, mid caps and small caps have done very bad. Even after this recovery, which has happened over from basically 1st of April till now, this year, I am trying to tell you, January 2018, if you put 100 rupees in index of Nifty 50, that is 106 rupees right now, even after the fall which happened. In the Nifty mid cap 100, had you put 100 rupees, it is now 70. And Nifty small cap 100, if you put 100 rupees, now it is 55 rupees. So it's last 2 years, it is a very top heavy market. Means I'll show you further data on this as we go ahead. It's a very, very top heavy market for last 2 years. That's what I try to call reversion. Means this kind of underperformance in these two small and mid cap indices generally is followed by good outperformance, because this is a cyclical business. Means it's in a mid and small cap thing. When valuations become too high, valuations on the companies start putting too big, and the absolute market caps also start showing you the signs. Absolute market cap is denoted by where is the index at the overall level. So if these things combine, you suddenly generally tend to have correction. We are fortunately, when we were launching this portfolio in December and January, we were on the right side of that metric. Index had fallen, valuations were in our favor, and after that COVID happened. That made the case even better. Even after from the COVID, it has rebounded. As I showed you in the data, we are still underperforming these large indices by a margin. So we are still on the mean reversion side. It is still favorable to us. In this thing, one more thing to note is not too much emphasis should be on what index is doing. Index is just a indicator of what is happening overall in the markets. There are 500-600 stocks which get actively traded in this small and mid cap indices. Most of the money will be made in identifying companies which can do well over 2-3 years. So to construct a portfolio, out of that, put 60-70% money in those companies. Try to balance the portfolio by putting 25-30% in larger companies, basically large caps. So that gives you some stability in the portfolio. Plus, you get your alpha by identifying companies which are doing well. So that's how it works. Index is just a way of telling you that this is what has happened over last 2-3 years. In the index, the probability of it doing better is on your side. That's the purpose of looking at the index. This slide tells you what happened between January 2018 till now. January 2018, everybody remembers, was the time when index made a high and we went into a correction mode for the whole market, barring large caps. That's the whole point I'm making. Large caps have outperformed these two indices by a margin, and now it's running 2 years. That also I'll show you in further slides. Now it is third year running that we are running for mid and small caps. So the probability of it bouncing back is high. This is the past data from 2014. This was the period. This period between 2018 and 19 is what I was talking about. 2018 and 20 in the previous slides. But if I elongate the chart from January 2015, you will see that mid and small cap indices do outperform Nifty by a margin if you are at the right time. So that's the whole point I'm making. If you are looking at these two green arrows, you can realize that July 2017, January 2018, basically this rally of 2017, and before that the larger rally started in 2014, which culminated at the time of monetization. And after that correction, the rally again started, which culminated at the end of 2017. So had you been invested in the time of basically end of 2013, when everything was so uncertain, we were getting into a government, oil was at a high, a rupee was depreciating, 45 rupee had become to something like 65 rupees in a matter of 2 months. If you remember that period of September 2013 till December 2013, had somebody put money at the beginning of 2014, he had a stellar run for 3-4 years. Again, the setup was same. You were in very desperate situation. Nothing was clearly visible. Valuations because of that on the smaller companies become too low. So if somebody tries to find out companies at that point in time and have patience for next 3-4 years, he can make a far more money than being in a conventional large cap. So that's the whole agenda. So please have a serious look at this chart. This is what happened between January 2014 and January 2018. Had somebody put 10 rupees, say large cap, it moved to like 50 rupees, 15 rupees. So it was a 15% return in 3-4 years. But had somebody put money in a basket of small cap, mid cap stocks, 10 rupee went up to 25 rupees in the same time. So the only thing which matters is to have a 3-4 year view and try to be little better when things are looking too bad. Because when things look too bad, that is in the price, and that basically gives you a better entry valuation. That's the whole point I would like to convey from this slide. Please have a serious look. And this is where we are sitting at this. That's what I showed you in the previous slide. This is where sitting even now. And after January 2018, more than 2 years have passed. Still, we are underperforming that Nifty larger index, Nifty 50, by a margin of 50% in the small cap and a margin of 25% in the mid cap. So even now we are, I would like to say that at the beginning of this year or April, we were definitely where we were in 2013-14. Right now some rally has happened, but still there is a long way to go. If we look at that previous chart, the same thing had happened between 2006 and 2008, then 2011, 2013. It is a hiatus of 1-2 years, and there is a huge rally because valuation suddenly compressed too much in smaller companies which are good. So that's the whole thing one should take away from these two slides. As I was telling you, market became top heavy between starting of 2018 and March of 2020. If you look at this data, total market cap change in that period, X of IPOs was minus 26%. But top 10 companies of India changed the market cap by 3% positive. So, and every other segment, top 11 to 20, 21 to 50, 51 to 100, all other segments lost market cap. If you look at 101 till 500, there is an average loss of 30-35% during that period from 1st of February 2018 till 31st of March 2020. This is a live data which happened. This data is after 31st March 2020. There is a pickup in the small and mid cap segment, but still we are lagging the large caps by a margin. So the whole point I am trying to tell you is that market became too top heavy in these 2 years, and that again the same point, that is going to mean revert. That process has started starting from April post COVID, and that process has started. It will take breathers in between, but that reversion to mean is not complete. It will complete when indices in the small cap, mid cap start making new highs. We are still quite away. In small cap index right now is away like 25% as compared to 2018 top. Mid cap index is at similar levels, around 20% away. So we are, and indices on the Nifty side is just shy of all-time highs by 7, 8, 9, basically 1,000 points, not more than that. That's a roughly 7-8% side. And we are away from indices on the mid and small cap by a margin of 25-30%. So it is the same thing, same point again. All these things are pointing to the same thing, that we should be starting to mean revert, and that process anybody who is in the market must have witnessed is happening since April of 2020 this year. Again, this is a very telling data. If you look at Nifty mid cap 100 and Nifty small cap 100, how many times 2005 till 2020, CY 2005, basically calendar year 2005 and calendar year 2005 till 2020 for both the indices. This is the first instance in last 15 years that 3 years are going to be continuously negative for these indices. This has never happened in the past. Last 15 years it has not happened. Nifty small cap 100 also, you are seeing a third negative year. If CY20 is negative for these indices, which is more than likely because it's not going to recover so much in the coming months. So CY20 also you are most likely to close negative. So this is the first 3 years in consecutive 3 years in last 15 years that we have closed negative. That's the point number one. The point number two is, whenever we had these kind of negative ticks, minus 59%, minus 31, minus 5, it is generally followed by a very huge pump up next year. Minus 31 is followed by minus 39, minus 59 is followed by 99. and -5 was followed by 56% in 2014. Similarly, here also, the Nifty small cap 100, -71% was followed by 100%, -34% was followed by 37% in CY12, CY14, 55% return. It was preceded in CY13 by -8% return. Again, the same point at a price level, almost everything is discounted, and that process of mean reversion has started from 20. This is what I was telling you in one of the earlier slides. If you are in, this is just look at this data between 31st March 2014 till 31st March of 2020. The point here is, I am not taking up top of the chart. Top of the chart, everybody knows in mid and small cap was made in 2018. I am taking this data till 31st March 2020. It's a 6-year period. So it's, and 31st March 2014 was not bottom. Bottom was made sometime in September, October 2019. So I am neither in the top nor in the bottom. So in this 6-year period, these are the top 100 companies, the leftmost column. Middle column is 101 to 250 companies, and 251 number to 500 companies. How many companies? So this is our bracket. This mostly is our bracket. If somebody puts money in this top 101 to 250 companies on 31st March 2014, more than 900% return, 10x, 8 companies are there. But out of 150, 8 companies actually multiplied 10x. Out of 158 companies is roughly like a 5% kind of probability. Then 400 to 900%, 5x to 10x is 17 companies. So out of 150 companies, 17 companies. So it's again more than 10% probability. 3x to 5x, 22 companies. And 2x to 3x, 28 companies. So I'll draw a line here, 100% to 200%, 2x to 3x. In 6 years, 2x means 12-13%, 3x means around 17-18%. So if you take a mean of around 15% on this line, this 28 plus 22 is 50 plus 17, 67 plus 8, 75. So out of 150 companies, 75 companies, you had a 50% probability of making a minimum of 15%. If somebody is more aggressive, he gets more lucky, he can make 5x, 10x. Average return of this portfolio will be 100% more than 20%. If somebody, the only basically important criteria is you have to invest money when it is looking too desperate. Right now, it was very desperate in April of 2000. Right now, it is looking little better because we had some 50% rally from the bottom. But right now, also, if you look at newspapers, top 5 people, out of 5 people, 3 people will tell you very bad stories about what is going on. So, in these tough times, you generally get bad things in the prices, and those bad things are on top of bad earnings also. So your valuation also is compressed, earning also is compressed. So if you are in a good company where you are confident of the business model, given time, earnings and valuations both rebound, and that's the key to making money. As I was telling you in this data, again look at this 101 to 250 companies once more, 150 companies total. Out of that, draw a line at 2x to 3x multiple. That's roughly 15% compounding at 2x to 3x. That is a minimum number. If you are drawing a line over here, so 28 plus 22 is 50 plus 17 is 67 plus 8, 75. So out of 150, 75 companies, 50% probability of making a minimum 15%. And if you are making a portfolio out of this company, probability is very, very high that you will start making 20% compounding. I'll repeat you once again, the most important thing in this business is to be right to be at right time cyclically. And cyclically right time is not when you are looking at all the good news. Cyclically right time to invest is when you are looking at every day you are looking at a bad news. So, so that is the situation right now, and that was the situation in 2014 roughly also. So this is what has happened over last. Now coming to our portfolio. This is a mix of, as I said, this will be a mix of small cap, mid cap, and large cap, with 15 to 25% weight in large caps to be measured by weighted average market cap at the portfolio level. Right now, as we are speaking, we have roughly 25% weight in large caps for the portfolio. Rest 75% is by small cap for small cap and mid cap. I'll again repeat, large caps are required for to weather the volatility. This is a volatile investing, mid cap and small caps. Right now, what you are seeing for last 1 week, actually after a rally of 50%, there is a fall of like 4-5% overall indices in a matter of 2-3 days. Including today, it will be little higher. So it tells you that it gives you some sense of volatility which you can experience. So in these volatile times, if you have large caps in the portfolio, that gives you some stability. So that is the purpose of putting some large caps in the portfolio. So right now we have 25%, 75% is by mid and small caps. As far as possible, maintain positions in unlevered companies. Another non-negotiable aspect, if you are putting money in mid and small cap companies, try to be companies which are debt free. Don't try to be in companies which are levered. The reason is when times go bad, the companies who have debt, they suffer more than companies who don't have any debt. Even in this COVID period, the companies which are debt free have done far better than the companies which are not debt free. So we try to maintain positions in companies which are largely debt free. Current debt equity is less than 0.5 at the portfolio level, including lending businesses. If I exclude the lending businesses, you have to compulsorily borrow debt to lend. So including lending businesses, the portfolio level debt to equity be around 0.5, not more than that. So that is a key concept one should be tracking. And excluding lending financials, so only 2 companies we are having which have some debt. Otherwise, all the companies are debt free. So at a portfolio level, debt equity will be around 0.5, including lending financials. Both outlook of 20% plus at portfolio level during FY 2020. FY 21 is a very extraordinary year. Nobody knows what is going to be the outcome of all this in 2021 end. It's very, very safe to assume that 90% companies which are operating in India will have an EPS degrowth in FY 21. So including that FY 21 degrowth, the target should be to have a 20% compounding of earnings between FY 20 and 23 at a portfolio level. Right now, whatever we are seeing, whatever we can see till see and project, whatever we can guess, we are of the opinion that the portfolio can give it 21% kind of EPS CAGR between FY 20 and 20 at a portfolio level. Portfolio level ROE we should be maintaining at 15% plus. This is, I mind you, this is an unlevered ROE. It does not include debt. These are companies which are debt free. So right now we are at 18% kind of portfolio level ROE. We try to be sector agnostic, but generally try to avoid pure play commodities and cyclicals. These are the 2 sectors we would not like to put money. Our portfolio right now does not have any cyclical or commodities. Try to be in unique stocks, not too much institutional ownership. So if you have to make that much extra money, there is an old saying that if you are going to follow herd, you are going to reach where the herd is reaching. So if you want to make some extra money, you have to break out of that herd. So herd is basically where everybody tries to put money. So institutional, very high institutional ownership it's very, very difficult to drive large outperformance or try to be away from that herd if you are following that herd. So we try to be little away from where the institutional ownership, where too much institutional ownership is there. Try to find out companies little ahead of the curve where the institutional ownership is going to come later. So that's a important thing. Right now, we own some companies which are very low on the institutional ownership. Muthoot Finance, Dixon, Amber, Aztec Life Sciences, Mastech. These companies are not owned by too many institutions. And this has given us some returns over last 5-6 months. General concept is try to be little away from the herd. It gives you little bit extra outperformance. Also, it gives you competitive outperformance. So that is the purpose. So these are the 4-5 companies which are not in the portfolio right now, which are not owned by too many institutions. Portfolio discipline, I have purposely put it. Allocation to be a function of convictions on companies and not dependent on price per se. What it means is that suppose I identified a company to deploy money for 2 years, I'll not be increasing or decreasing my allocation based on the price. I'll be increasing and decreasing my allocation based on what is my conviction level. So suppose 100 rupees stock I put in, it becomes 300 rupees. I would like to maintain a portfolio weight of 10%. I'll cut the position if the price has moved too much ahead. Similarly, if the price falls 100 to 600, 100 to say 75 rupees, and I'm still convinced on the portfolio, I'm convinced on the stock, I would still like to maintain a 10% weight. So I'll add more positions at 75 rupees. So it's a function of my conviction, our conviction on the stock, not on the price per se. Maintain. Somebody is raising a hand. Maintain active targets of profits and prices on stocks with 1, 2, and 3 years view. Whenever we put money in stock, we try to maintain an active target. On those active targets stated what will be the profit for FY21, 22, 23, and what is the most likelihood price on the stock. So if you have those written targets of prices and profit, it becomes easier in decision making while mismatch of price and timelines should lead to action on both sides, that is selling and buying. What it means is that we should be having regular trimming of positions if price targets run ahead of timelines. So as I was mentioning, if I am maintaining an active target of say FY20 200 rupee becoming 150 rupees, but I start getting that 150 at the end of FY21 itself. So it should ideally be leading to trimming in position. Regular and on the reverse side, regular additions in positions if profits are in line ahead of times and stock price is not responding. I'll give you live examples. Muthoot Finance, we added at something like 750 odd rupees. We were expecting a 12-1300 price by end of FY21. 1250 we got right now, just 2 months back. So we cut some positions over there. We got out some positions at 1300 rupees, 1250 rupees also. Max Financial is an example on the reverse side. Max Financial we bought at 500 rupees. It fell to 400 to 30 rupees. We are very confident about that this company will do well in 2 years' time. Profits also, growth in premium, everything is coming in line. So we added positions in those at those prices after buying at 500. So that's the whole point. The conviction would be driving your allocation, not the price. When price drives your allocation, what happens that 500 becoming 400, people get jittery if everything remains the same. If everything is remaining the same, your conviction should actually be putting more money in the stock. And similarly, on the reverse side, if the price moves too ahead out of your profit estimates, you should be trimming your position. So I gave you some 2 examples, Muthoot and Max, on a positive side because markets have rallied over last 5-6 months. So we got more opportunities on the positive side. We have also booked profit in Tata Consumer, Mastech because we were not expecting this kind of rally in a short time. So we booked some profit in the company. This is again the same thing, open-ended PMS. mid-cap oriented portfolio, primarily investing in 101 to 400 as per market capitalization. Focused portfolio of 15-20 stocks. Benchmark is Nifty Mid Small Cap 400 Index. It's a these are the basic what you call portfolio facts. Management fee is nil. Other charges is nil. Hurdle rate is 6% per annum. Profit share fees is 20% of profits over the hurdle rate, and exit load 2% within 12 months of disinvestment. 12 months of investment. So these are the basic portfolio facts. This is the portfolio, indicative portfolio at this point in time. This is not indicative portfolio. This is the 70-80%. All the holdings are not mentioned over here, but this mentions you around 80% of the holdings. Ajanta Pharma, Max Financial, Muthoot, Larsen Tobacco, Infotech, L&T Technology Services, Mass Financial, APL Apollo, ICICI Securities, Dixon Technologies, Tata Consumer Products. These are 5-6 top names which are there in the portfolio. As I told you, large cap is around 24% of the portfolio, 39% is mid cap, 29% is small cap. So that's the basic contour of the portfolio. This is the sector allocation: NBFC 20%, software 17%, non-lending financials, basically insurance companies, in insurance plus ICICI Securities is 15%, pharmaceuticals 14%. This is the weight in the portfolio of different sectors. And this is as on 31st of July 2020. This is the portfolio performance over since it has been started 1 month. The mid cap, this mid small total return index is up like 5%. We are up like 11.5%. Since inception, when end of December 2019 was the inception. Minus 6% was the Nifty Mid Small Cap TRI return. 12% is our return. 3 months is 23% versus 16%. So these are the basic returns profile of this portfolio. Strategy has delivered absolute returns of 12% versus index of minus 6% and outperformance of 17% since inception. 24 December 2019 was the date. This is my profile which is over there, and we follow a basically process of investment committee. Our investment committee comprises of our founder and CEO and head of research. So whenever we have something to discuss, to buy, this is a committee where there is discussion which happens every time. And these are different team members: mutual fund, PMS, AIF, and head of research. I'll put here on the portfolio slide. If anybody has any question, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, Rakesh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking us through. I would request participant not to send your question to Q&A because we have already collated few questions. I would request you to send your questions to info@pmsbazaar.com. I would request Mr. Huma Mageshwaran to take up the question with Rakesh and send back to us. Rakesh, I mean, as mentioned, we have taken few questions. Before that, a few of the participants might have not heard about this specific product what Rakesh was talking about. As we all aware that Motilal Oswal is one of the pioneer in PMS. They are managing close to 40,000 clients, which is about 30% of the industry size. And they've been offering 5 different strategies, which is popularly known in the market. And in addition to this 5 strategy, in the month of December 2019, they came out with a new product, which is called Focused Mid-Cap Strategy, which is what Rakesh has been taking us through. And this product is not available for all the clients. It is for a selective partners what they're given, and PMS Bazaar is one among them. And the unique feature about this product is that it comes with a win-win fee structure. When I mean win-win, there is no fees. Absolutely, there is no fees on the fixed side, unlike other product. However, there is a profit sharing once they cross the hurdle rate and with the higher watermark applicable. So with that note, let me move on to questions. Rakesh, the first question would be, when there is a 5 different strategies, covering mid cap, small cap, multi cap, and all category broadly. Why an investor should look at another strategy within Motilal Oswal? What are the difference, when comparing with other strategies?
As I told you, this is primarily a mid-cap strategy, mid and small we can say, but mid-cap will be the body of the portfolio. 70-80% larger small cap, smaller mid cap. Now 100% this kind of setup is not there in any of other portfolios. The other thing to note is that if you look at the ownership of the stocks which I talked about earlier is not owned by any other PMS. Muthoot is now bought by a large cap scheme value. Otherwise, most of the stocks which I talked about earlier is not owned by any other Motilal Oswal schemes and outside schemes also. So we would like to be little different on the strategy in terms of putting most of the money in the larger small caps and smaller mid caps. So the market cap range will be like 3,000 to 50,000 crore. That will be 80% of the portfolio. 20% of the portfolio, as I told you, roughly 20-25% will be in large caps, 40-50,000 crore market cap. There also the companies we have put money have actually driven us a lot of outperformance. Muthoot is one such company which is in actually 40,000 crore plus bracket. Then it has driven us a lot of outperformance over last 5-6 months. Then Tata Consumer Products, we put money at 30,000 odd, 30,000 less than 30,000 crore actually. Right now the market cap is 50,000 crore. That also is a large company now classified in large caps. Alkem also has given us around 20% return. So all these large cap companies have given us good returns. Small caps also have given returns, but large caps provide you stability also. So that's the whole point. This 70-80% mid cap and little ownership, which is little away from where other portfolios are. These two things are the differentiating factor within Motilal Oswal and otherwise also.
Thanks, Rakesh. So I'll move on to next question. Since 2018, being it PMS or mutual fund, mid cap and small cap funds are underperforming. So there are many clients who have invested in mid cap and small cap space. What would be your advice for the existing client who have put their money in this space, in this category?
As I explained earlier in so many words, that 2017 and in hindsight was the top for the mid and small caps. This generally happens. Again, I have tried to show you here in one of the slides that generally 3 years of negative returns in mid and small cap is followed by huge returns. These 3-year consecutive negative returns have never happened in the last 15 years. So one should basically, there can be a cycle of 2.5 years also, which is bad, which is what is happening at this point in time. One should be patient in these bad times because data in the past is telling you that mean reversion happens when things go too bad. So, and this is what has happened over last 2 years. That 3 years consecutive return in small company has never happened. So the probability, as you are waiting more, the probability of a bounce back is higher. It's like waiting for a lift. If you are waiting for a lift on 20th floor, for 10 minutes you waited, lift did not come. If you move out at 21st minute, you have wasted your 20 minutes. Also, as that more time has passed, probability of that lift coming to you is higher. So please, when in this kind of situation, one should be basically looking at what is the probability, how much time I have waited, and what is the probability of bounce back. In my opinion, after 2-3 years of negative return, probability of bounce back is high. So would advise people to, those who have invested, nobody has unlimited capital. But if you have invested at the top in 2018, that is in hindsight, it looks very visible now. One will have to bear the pain. That's how it works. So right now we are probably at the end of the pain. We shall have better times. That's what data is telling us probabilistically.
Fine, Rakesh. So your advice is to stick on with the investment if the quality is good.
Yes.
Fine. So then let me move on to the next question. See, Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company is known for buy and hold. But looking at your presentation, we understand there is a regular trimming in your portfolio, maybe to book profits. Won't this affect the long-term wealth creation?
It works both ways. I'm not saying that I'm going to do a 200% churn, but wherever I get my prices ahead of my profits, it's in investors' interest to trim the positions. Because what has happened over last 10 years, that cycles are becoming little shorter. One should always be prudent about the valuations. If you are getting too high valuations, you invested with a mindset. You write down your thesis that this is what we wanted. 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line, you go back to that place and you find out that I had written X and 0.8x, 0.9x has happened in 1 year only. So it's prudent to have some money out, have some money on the table. So it is not a hampering of the wealth creation, it's smoothing of the wealth creation. That's how I would like to put it. I can give you umpteen number of examples that when people don't trim the positions, investors suffer a loss, and the same questions come, why didn't you trim the position? So it's a better strategy to smoothen that process rather than trying to second guess what the market is going to do. If you have written something at the beginning of your investment thesis and 1 year down the line you are finding that your investment thesis is outrunning you, you should not try to get ahead of yourself. You should try to be a little patient, little basically prudent over there, trim some positions. I am not going to get out of the stock completely if I am finding it, if I am finding the company to be good. If valuations become too high, I'll definitely trim, and if valuations become actually very high, I'll exit also. That's how it should work.
Interesting, Rakesh. So I'll move on to next question. What is your learning during the March fall? So what is the deletion addition taking place in your focused mid-cap portfolio during this time?
Learning in the March fall is that if you are in levered companies which are vulnerable anyways, these kind of sudden drawdowns can completely kill you. So one should always be mindful of companies where you are putting money at the beginning, however good or bad the time is. In a good time also, you should put money in companies where you are confident that this company will remain in the business 5 years down the line. In a bad time also, you should be putting money in those companies only. The company's size has nothing to do with the quality. Means whether the company is good or bad is not dependent on its size. It's not dependent on its size only. People confuse size with the quality. Quality of a business is dependent on how is the balance sheet, what is the outside environment, how strong he is competitively, how are the promoters, these things. Size is an important factor, but size is not the only factor. So one should be mindful of putting money in companies, and these kind of jolts which happen suddenly, like it happened in March, it happened in 2008, it happened in 2013, it happened in 2006. There are so many times in our last 10-15 years, it has happened 4-5 times. Every time it teaches you the same lesson, that please be mindful of companies where you are putting money.
Fine, Rakesh. So I'll take last question. You know, it's about corporate governance. Generally, the corporate governance issue is broadly more, the mid-cap space or even a small cap space. So how do you tackle this?
corporate governance again is not a function of size. As I told you, quality of company is not a function of size only. Similarly, corporate governance is not a function of size only. In a larger company also, there can be corporate governance issues. In a small, there are many smaller companies which have squeaky clean corporate governance. So it's not prudent to basically put corporate governance as a function of size. Corporate governance is a standalone thing, size is a standalone thing. So a good company, good corporate governance company can be small also, can be big also. A bad corporate governance can be big also, small also. We have seen enough examples on both sides. So corporate governance, we believe, is not a function of size. Corporate governance should be assessed irrespective of size. Whether you are putting in large cap or small cap or mid cap, corporate governance should be assessed irrespective of the size. And one should be staying away from corporate governance issues. Whether the company is small or big doesn't matter.
Rakesh, thank you very much for taking your time. And participant, thank you very much. I'm sure that the presentation would have been insightful. And as requested, if you still have any questions, you can send across to info@pmsbazaar.com. Within a week's time, we'll revert your question. We'll take up the question to Rakesh and we'll revert back. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.